FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is the last day of January 2017. Who would believe the month could go by this quickly? But Bix Weir is with us now. Bix, the Trump cabinet slowly but surely is taking form. I mean, everybody in the world is against this guy, so he must be doing something, right? And welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. Yeah, about half of them I like and half of them I don't like.
Yeah, well, but I always say judge somebody by the enemies they keep. Forget about their friends. You have friends for all sorts of different reasons, right? But your enemies, there's only one reason you have enemies, and that's because they hate you. And if they hate you for all sorts of reasons, but they still hate you. And look at all the people that hate him.
Well, he could change the view of himself and what he's trying to do in a blink of an eye by telling the truth about what was going on at the Clinton Foundation and with John Podesta and Hillary and what goes on with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. He could change everything by just telling the truth.
Yeah, well, easier said than done, though, isn't it? I mean, how long would he last if he really told the truth? Well,
that's kind of the big question is Trump working for what I call the good guys, the people who are taking down the old system, taking down the Illuminati and the people who control and rig our markets, or is he just another flunky? I think he is trying to take them down, but in order to get into the position he is now, he had to nominate some of these complete criminals like the Steve Mnuchin. His pick for Treasury Secretary couldn't be a worse choice for someone to be in that position. And I've just been jumping up and down. This guy is a skull and bones guy, Goldman Sachs. His father was a Goldman Sachs board member. His job at Goldman was head of IT market rigging, computer market. Well, they call it computer market trading, but it's computer market rigging. He is the nexus of the Goldman Sachs computer rigging markets, and he was knee deep in the Hollywood scams and One West Bank foreclosures. This guy he's the worst human being you could possibly put up, which makes me think that Trump put him there for a purpose, for a reason. So either he can not be nominated, the Democrats will block him, or that he'll be the one in the seat when the system crashes, and then they can fire him and put it in someone they really want.
You think?
Well, that's what I think. I mean, I've been known to be right and wrong, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, you don't think that Mnuchin's maybe reformed and he's seen God and he's seen the Trumpian way of things, and maybe he's seen how evil Goldman is, that it preys on everything and it's a totally parasitic entity, and he's changed his evil ways?
Not a chance in the world. This guy's he's a reptilian, if anything. And if you look at watch his confirmation hearings, and you will see just a really evil guy that I'm scared that even Trump thought of putting him up. So yeah, it's not good.
How many Goldman guys are in his cabinet? The head of the Council of Economic Advisors, Cohn, I think it is. He's got 3 or 4 guys high placed in his admin that are former Goldman Vampire Squid alums, right?
Yeah, and it makes you wonder. Of course, the Democrats are saying, just another Republican, blah blah blah. And I don't think so. I think these Goldman guys are there for a reason. I think Trump's going to do a culling of his administration once he gets enough of these guys put in place, and we have a little economic hiccup, because Trump was not a big fan of the Goldman guys, and
he said they were killers
against it. Yeah,
right.
And he also said the market's in a bubble, and he wants to get rid of the Fed. And there's pictures of him with gold. He knows exactly what we know about gold and silver, which ever since he's been in office have been going up. So my biggest fear is that he puts Mnuchin in charge, and then Mnuchin almost instantly starts attacking gold and silver.
Yeah, you think that's what's going to happen? What's your guess here?
No, I think Mnuchin will either not make it into office, or more likely he will be in office when the system crashes and they'll be fired instantly by Trump. And then Trump will put in someone he likes, a sound money guy. So, yeah, I think the whole appointing of Mnuchin to Treasury Secretary is part of a larger plan going on behind the scenes.
Hey, so what about, obviously, Trump's not afraid to fire people. He fired 2 people last night. He fired the acting attorney general and he fired the head of the Border Patrol, right?
And they both should have been fired.
Yeah.
It should have been fired the first day, but it took them opening their mouths to say something against Trump, and then of course he's going to fire him.
Yeah, boy, gone. And it just reminded me of The Apprentice. You're fired, right? Yeah.
I love it. I love it, and I think that's a sign of things to come. I think Mnuchin's, why he did it. There is a plan behind the scenes. There's got to be.
Yeah.
But this guy is bad. I mean, talk about the king market rigger at Goldman. That's all he did there. He was head of IT, and he wrote the rigging programs and completely illegally rigged the market. His father was knee deep, a lifer at Goldman. He was a lifer at Goldman until Mnuchin went off to Hollywood to, start hedge funds and foreclose on people, One West Bank. So, yeah, this guy's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so has he got anybody in his cabinet that you think is up to the task? That's a good person.
Yeah, I think about half of them. Interesting. Jeff Sessions, is that his name? Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General.
Right.
That's a key position, because theoretically the attorney general upholds the law when, the FBI or the CIA and NSA, anybody brings them a criminal, they're the ones who are supposed to prosecute them. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about Sessions, but I did see one of the old good guys, Michael Mukasey, the old attorney general, was right behind Sessions during his congressional testimony, which tells me, I know Mukasey's the guy kind of leading the whole gang of good guys behind the scenes. He's the guy who took out Bernie Madoff, and basically that started the ball rolling on taking out these bad guys. So I do like that Mukasey is endorsing Jeff Sessions. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, that definitely is a good sign. So going to be interesting to see. So last time you said, are they going to keep the exchange stabilization board going? Have we had any indication about that? Oh, yeah.
It's going right now. Yeah. It continues to rig every day. If gold and silver aren't going, absolutely ballistic, that means they're being rigged. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Trump is, at least so far, I think he's waiting to get enough people in place to pull the plug on the bubble. But, so far they're keeping gold and silver under control, which means they're rigging it. They're selling naked shorts into the comics and the LBMA. Yeah. And how long will it go on? I don't know. I mean, it's key. You have to control gold and silver if you're going to run an unbacked fiat monetary system. That's the only reason this system has lasted since 71 was the rigging of the gold and silver markets.
And Bitcoin and
love Bitcoin.
Yeah. Right. Bitcoin.
It's ready to rock again, and I think it's approaching 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a stellar performer, right? I mean, it's really
China's opening up. Yeah. See, the problems that were going on with Bitcoin is that same thing going on with the comics and the LBMA. There's way too much hyper leverage in these exchanges. So the Bitcoin exchanges exchange Bitcoin derivatives. Those aren't Bitcoins that they're exchanging. It isn't a Bitcoin transaction until you take it out of the exchange. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, they can trade 1 million coins and it doesn't really matter. And China's clamping down on that now and telling the Chinese exchanges they're trying to clean up Bitcoin because they know exactly what they're going to be using it for. They're going to be using it for as a form of money in the very, very near future.
Yeah, very near future, right? When is this thing going here? I mean, we've been watching this system wobble along now for years, Bix, and now we have a new president. The old president, who was really just a stooge of the entire system. I mean, the guy was a puppet. No matter how you cut it, he was a complete puppet. My personal feeling, perhaps, of the CIA and the powers that be, but the new guy is nobody's puppet. From the looks of things, is this going to continue on for another 8 years or what?
Well, you and I both know, I think I know, that Trump wants to fix things. Now, in order to fix things, he knows there's bubbles all over the place. He's going to have to crash the system. He doesn't want to start fixing things, get halfway through his presidency and have a bubble pop on him. That would, negate the whole first couple of years of his presidency. So, if we're talking about timing, I actually am releasing a Bitcoin, gold, and silver price predictions, shall we say. No, they're never right. But people always say, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? So tomorrow I'm releasing a month-to-month prediction on gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices going out through the year. And I think it's going to be the huge year. It's going to be the year that gold and silver are set free from the manipulation. And we've already had Deutsche Bank admit that they rigged the silver market and admit that other banks do it as well. Will whoever Trump appoints to the CFTC, are they going to pull the plug? Are they going to say, oh, by the way, 3 silver investigations came up with nothing, but Deutsche Bank raised their hand and said, oh, yeah, we've been rigging the market for 10 years.
Who would have thunk, huh? Well,
yeah, and where are the charges? Where's the SEC and the CFTC, and where are the charges for market manipulation against Deutsche Bank and everybody they dealt with? And JP Morgan's knee deep in it.
Oh, yeah. We know that. There's not even a question.
So if Trump is truly a good guy and he's going to get us on the straight and narrow, why is he allowing the rigging to go on?
Good question. I'd like to know the answer to that. I can't do everything at once.
I think it's just that he's trying to get certain people in place before he pulls the plug.
You can't do everything at once here, Bix. Let's face it. How do you do that, right?
Well, that's it's the moral conundrum. Do you, knowing that you're the one who can press the red button and destroy the market manipulation and the rest of the economy and people's life savings with it, would you press that button, or would you do what they've been doing for the past 40 years and just continuing the game, continuing the market rigging, the Ponzi scheme, and letting all our freedoms go by the wayside? I do think Trump will fight for our freedoms, but you can't have a free society with a rigged market. It's showing the problems with it today, and unless the market rigging stops, America will never be the same. Mm-hmm. We'll never return to what it should be, shall we say?
Yeah, you need free markets, obviously, right?
Well, there's no obviously. I don't think we've ever had free markets, truthfully.
Well,
a free market, in a strict definition, a free market would have no regulation either. Mm-hmm. There would be there needs to be some regulation, or the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers would just they'd slam everything and take it away. So you're going to have some regulation, but that's not a free market with regulations.
No. Well, you got to have some regulation to keep the market free, but then that starts the slippery slope, and eventually the regulation is there to pick winners and losers, right? You know what happens.
Well, this is just so much market distortion, pricing distortion that, the big problem, I think, is that money has lost all its value. JP Morgan can go in and short the COMEX market and the LBMA with silver derivatives, and yet at the same time pull out 550 million physical ounces out of the warehouse and stick it into their warehouse. Now, where is the justice there? Yeah. They're playing the game. A free market, it's a smart thing to do. You can rig the prices lower because the COMEX regulators aren't going to do anything about it. And then you could take the physical, knowing that someday the game's going to fall apart and you'll be sitting there with the riches of the world.
Yeah. Funny how that works, eh?
Yeah. But, the problem everywhere is all the lies, and no one tells the truth anymore. And, if Trump wants us to buy into his, make America great again, we got to figure out, when did we stop becoming great? And I think it was with the lies that happened with the creation of the Federal Reserve in the early 1900s. Yeah. That's when the banking lies and the bankers basically took over. And you want to make America great again, go back to pre-1913.
Yeah. I remember my grandparents, my grandfather in particular, being very distrustful of banks, very distrustful of the banks.
And they should be.
Yeah.
And people are today, even though they don't know why, other than the 2008 thing where everybody says, well, we bailed out the banks, but I didn't get a bailout. We just need to end the lies. And when you end the lies, you destroy the entire electronic monetary system because it's based on a gigantic lie. So is Trump the guy to do that? I think so. He hasn't done it yet, though. Right now, he's continuing it.
He's as close as we're going to get.
Oh, definitely.
We're not getting anybody else. This is the problem. We're just not. So it's unfortunate. If it's not him, then we're cooked because there just isn't going to be anybody else. Right?
But it's not just him. He's just a part of these good guys. He's a big part, but he's not there are much more powerful people orchestrating this game than Trump. Yeah,
no doubt. No doubt. You are correct there, Bix. And, it's just a question of how this plays out and how much harm is going to be inflicted upon the public, the public doesn't have gold. The public doesn't have Bitcoin. What have they got?
I think the public does have gold, or at least in the U.S., the public has gold and the public has Bitcoin held by the U.S. government waiting for this transition. They don't personally have it in their hands, but the U.S. government is well aware of what's happening. I've shown it in the Federal Reserve is well aware of what's happening. And if you look for the U.S.'s Bitcoin, I would say look right at the Satoshi Nakamoto original Bitcoin of 1 million coins that the entity called Satoshi Nakamoto that created Bitcoin still has and hasn't spent a penny of it. I think it's part because this Bitcoin phenomenon came out of the U.S. government and the U.S. plans to go use Bitcoin along with the rest of the world and all the hidden gold that they have. It's phenomenal how much gold is hidden in Chocolate Mountain and in the Grand Canyon and all the Yamashita's gold in China. There's so much gold out there. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to find out one of these days, aren't we?
Hopefully, hopefully while we're alive. No, I think this year, Trump is going to want to break this stuff apart early on so he really can get back to, starting from fresh with a creative destruction event and get back to making America great again, which would be great because we'd get rid of all the debt. And that's our big problem right now. Yeah.
Well, hey, sooner the better. Hey, so what are you working on right now? Book-wise, events, etc.
Well, I've got my report on gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices, and because everybody asks about it, so I wrote a report and I go through each month, January, February, March, what I see potentially happening, and then I give price estimates on all three of those items: gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And let me just tell you, the numbers are astronomical by the end of the year. So yeah, everything's looking good for the releasing of us from the clutches of the bad guys. We just got to see it. If you notice, gold, silver, and Bitcoin are all moving up with Trump. And this has just begun. The real moves will come in April, May, June.
Well, yeah, it's the price of gold is definitely behaving completely different at this point.
But Mnuchin's not in there, remember?
Yeah.
If he gets in there, I'll kind of be scared and buckle in for a wild ride.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride no matter how you figure it, right?
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
It's going to be a wild ride. So, hey, find Bix's work over at roadtoruta.com. And we always have a link to his site on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. If you got any questions for Bix, just send them over to kl@kerrylutz.com, kl@kerrylutz.com, and as well as any questions for anybody else you've heard here and myself. Bix, we will talk to you again real soon. Be well, and let's see what's going to happen next here, because it's definitely getting really interesting, and the exit doors are closing for sure, aren't they?
They are. It's great talking to you, Kerry.
Hey, as always, Bix, be well, my friend.
Bye-bye.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.